common elements. Every news story is based on one main idea, the focus. The basic news story structure includes a headline and three general parts: a beginning called the lead, a middle called the body, and an ending. Headline: the headline is the line on top of the story that identifies the main idea of the story, so the reader can decide whether to access the full story. The lead at the beginning of the story, the hook that tells the reader what the story is about, is called the lead. A good lead entices the reader to continue reading. In a hard news story, the lead usually is written in one sentence, the first sentence of the story, and gives the most important information about the event. The nut graph is a sentence or paragraph that states the focus, the main point of the story. It should tell in a nutshell what the story is about and why it is newsworthy. Quotes or sound bites. After the lead, the body of the story should support the focus with information from sources, quotes, or facts that explain the main idea. If you have a good quote or soundbite from a source, it should be placed high in the story after the lead or nut graph. The impact: whenever possible, the writer should explain how the news affects readers. The impact sentence or paragraph should answer these questions. What is the significance of this story? What in the story makes the reader care? Sometimes the impact is explained in the lead or the nut graph. Sometimes it's lower in an explanatory paragraph. Not all stories can show direct impact on readers, but they should all have a clear paragraph explaining the reason for the story. In some stories, such as police stories, the impact is that the news happened in the community and should be of interest to local residents. Attribution: where did you get the information from? Who told you these facts? How can the reader be sure what you say is true? Attribution, which identifies the source of the information, can provide those answers. Context and background: is there any history or background the reader needs in order to understand how a problem or action occurred? Put the story in perspective or context. If the story is about a fire, accident, or crime, how many other incidents of this type have occurred in the community recently? Most stories need some background to explain the action. Elaboration: supporting points related to the main issue constitute elaboration. These can be statements, quotes, or more detailed to explain what happened, how and why the problem or action occurred, and reactions to the event. In this part of the story, seek other points of views to make sure you have balance and fairness. A story based on one source can be too biased. The ending: the most common type of ending includes one of these elements. It's a future action, a statement or a quote that summarizes but does not repeat the previous information, or more elaboration. The future action would be something like if I was covering the Common Council and they were going to vote on a rent control measure, I would conclude it by saying the council will vote on the measure on Tuesday, something like that. That's a future action. It can be placed higher in the story if it's a key factor. Avoid summary endings that repeat what you have already said. We don't want to do that. And a basic news story end when you have no more new information to reveal. Fairness and accuracy: if the story involves conflict, you should always get comments from both or all sides of an issue. Avoid one source stories. Also, make sure you attribute your sources, including information you use from websites, other news organizations, and quotes or statements from people you interview. Visuals: very important. Visual elements such as photographs, charts, and other graphic illustrations are crucial to news presentation and print and online information. It's one of the first things, like when we are developing story ideas, one of the things I'm thinking about is, okay, well, what's the picture we're going to use for the web? Because it's that important and we need something. And if it's a good photo that we can get, it's gonna do better on social media and online when people are clicking on it. So you're going to learn about a bunch of other things. things called summary blurb, a pull quote, facts or highlights box, infographics, audio and video for online delivery. The example of a basic news story. There's lots of examples in the textbook. The following example will show you how elements of the basic news story fit together for print or online delivery. This is a standard news story with a summary lead. The story is organized in the inverted pyramid form, giving the most important information first and the rest in descending order of importance. So this is what we mean by the inverted pyramid. You've got your lead, you've got your hook at the top, right? Most important information right at the top, hook us in. The nut graph is going to explain our focus, summarize things a little bit. Then we're going right into our lead quote. We have more facts, we have more quotes, and our ending. Quotes and attribution. Good quotes can back up your lead and substantiate information in your story. In addition, good quotes let the reader hear the speaker, but boring quotes can bog down stories if they repeat what you have already said. It's better to paraphrase or eliminate them. In a broadcast story, sound bites take the place of quotes. Plagiarism, copying the words of other writers is plagiarism, and it's a cardinal sin in journalism, so don't do that. Even if you paraphrase information you receive from other publications, you are plagiarizing if you don't attribute it, so make sure you attribute it. You'll learn when to use direct quotes and how to write quotes. So there's a lot in this chapter, and that's just a summary of the different sections, so take the time, read it. And if you have any questions, shoot me an email. Okay, and so what do we have due this week? What are we working on? The first thing I want you to do after you read chapter 2, we have another discussion board. So what this is going to be about, this is worth 10 points. It's called Online Focus. I want you to select an online news site. It can be a local or national news website, so you can use Syracuse.com or CNN.com, whatever you want. Include the link to the homepage and discuss the following. Do the headlines and or summary blurbs. That's sort of it's a summary statement or a few sentences after a headline. The textbook explains it a little bit more in there. Do the headlines and or summary blurbs clearly identify the main point of the story? Give me an example, include a web page link. Which headlines entice you to click onto a story? Give me some links there. How long are the average online headlines? You count out how many words they are. You know, when I'm writing a good headline, I want it to be short. I don't want a long headline, and I want it to catch the reader's attention and grab them and pull them in. Again, with summary blurbs, this is just it's a quick explanation, sometimes right below the headlines, that you'll see with some of the stories. If you see any summary blurbs, does it add or detract from your interest in reading the full story? This could also be your lead, the lead sentences, or even the nut graph. How much information should the summary blurb reveal about the story? What type of summary blurbs do you prefer? A single sentence, a paragraph, or a few paragraphs? So this is sort of the beginning of the news article, summarizing what's in it. Tell me what you prefer and what you're seeing from some of the news articles online. Okay, so this is it's just a good discussion, get us to start analyzing some of the news websites that you're already going on. Okay, so that's going to be due on Thursday, so you got plenty of time for that. And then due on Sunday, so you have a week to work on this. It's an assignment and it's a basic news story. So what you're going to do is write a story based on the following information. You'll see this is coming right from your textbook, both of these things. This is going to be worth 20 points. You're going to write a focus sentence before you start your story. For this story, your focus sentence should be the results of the study. If you want a lead that gets directly to the point, your focus sentence could also be your lead. Once you have written a focus sentence, add a suggestion for a visual presentation, a photograph, a chart, facts, box, a video excerpt, or other graphic illustration. Decide what facts, if any, should be duplicated in the story and the graphic. Then organize the story by placing facts, quotes, and elaboration in an order, with the most important information near the top of the story, the least important material near the bottom. So we've got the inverted pyramid going. This is basically just going to help you write and structure your first news story. Maybe not the first for all of you, but for some of you. So it's going to be based on the following material, which is based on a real article from an outlet in California. You've got your who and your what. It's a study comparing the death and accident rates of left and right-handed people. You've got your when, you've got your where, you've got your why, you've got your how. And you have a bunch of backup information. So the following points are not necessarily in the order, they should be in your story. You also don't have to use all of this information in your story. Use what is most important and what you think is most relevant. And keep it short and keep this simple. I just want to see that you're getting the main structure of how we write a news story down. Okay. And so don't feel like this has to be long and you have to include all of this, because I don't want that. I want you to keep this really short, sweet, simple, to the point. Okay. And what you're going to do is when you're done writing that, you're going to email it to me. So email me your story to tmagnarelli@gmail.com by Sunday evening. So you have plenty of time. And if you have any questions, also shoot me an email. I'll be happy to help. And that's basically it for your week 2 and your unit 2, what I want you guys to work on. And like I said, if you have any questions, shoot me an email. And I hope you guys have a great week. Thanks. Bye.